There are many serious analysts in Kenya who believe that Raila Odinga can actually save the Ruto presidency. They believe that because Raila has now given us a very clear indication that he's going into some sort of merger with UDA and the Ruto gang, they are now very sure that Ruto will survive to the year 2027 and the next general elections scheduled for that year. And admittedly, I have to be careful here, because regulars on this channel will remember that during the Gen Z revolution of the year 2024, I was of the view that Raila Odinga was not capable of stopping the Gen Z revolution. Well, with the benefit of hindsight, I was wrong. Okay? Because Raila Odinga's influence clearly played a role in stopping the Gen Zs. Indeed, there are many people in Kenya today who believe that had Raila stayed out of it, we would be having a very different Kenya today, and the current regime would not be in power. ODM told us, you want to remove Ruto, what is the alternative? That is the question they posed. And now we know that the idea of an alternative was a Ruto regime with Raila and ODM people inside that regime in kind of a merger. On my show today, while being very careful and very sure, we want to answer the simple question that is on the minds of many Kenyans. Will Raila steady the Ruto ship and allow President Ruto to arrive in the year 2027 when there will be another general election? Right now, let's even not talk about that election. Let's just focus on if Raila will carry this government until the year 2027. And you can be sure in my analysis this time round, I will be much more careful. In fact, we're going to hear what insiders, people are bang inside there who know what is happening, what those insiders think. And then I'll also present to you evidence of the reaction of the public, what we have seen so far, to this move, which has angered many Kenyans, of Raila joining hands with Ruto, and maybe even the constitution being changed so that Raila Odinga can be a prime minister and Ruto president. But before we do that, I would like to clear the air over something. Yeah? It is not true that the Subaru boys were sent at high speed to Mombasa for a certain church service recently, where Pastor Lai was injecting. That information is not true. Hey, I can report with accuracy that at least so far, nothing like that has happened. Lakini, that injection is still ringing in our ears. Oh yes. And I'd like to remind all of us that it was targeted at all Kenyans. And so, let's just not point fingers only in one direction. No. We are all corrupt. Many Kenyans are thieves. So let's be careful about that. Please, let us call ourselves into a meeting and repent and repair our relationships with the Most High. It is very strange how we humans live our lives as if we're going to live forever. That is not the reality. The reality is we should treasure every moment, every minute, every hour, every day, while being careful to always do the right thing. Maringo tuache kando. Recently, I listened to somebody who was saying that they had a vision that all previous Kenyan presidents who have passed on are not in a good place. They are in the other place, the place which is not good, the place where you're welcomed. Karibu! Something like that. I'm sure you know what I mean, the place of torment. I just felt that I should remind us that hiyo message ilikuwa ya kila mtu. Right? In politics, and we have seen this right through history, in politics, the temperatures in a country are very important. And usually it is the temperature, how high or how low it is, that will ultimately decide whether something works or falls flat on its face. That is a reality we can never run away from. Now, right now in Kenya, we all know that the temperatures are extremely high. Kenyans are very angry. And indeed, many Kenyans are angry at a man who was previously a hero, Baba, Raila Odinga. And I believe we saw this very clearly during his bid, his failed bid for that AU job. Kenyans celebrated when he failed. And even when he was campaigning, Kenyans told us they were praying he does not get the job. Isn't that what happened? And therefore, that is not something to debate about. Kenyans, wachana now. And therefore, for that reason and for that reason alone, no union, no coalition, no person living joining the Ruto regime can save it. That is my opinion. But now, let us hear the opinion of somebody else. An insider. Somebody who was previously an assistant minister. A member of parliament for many years. Definitely an insider. Honorable Richard Onyonka, who is the senator from Kisii. What does he think? Will this thing work? Let's listen in. I'll be back shortly. On a morning talk show on Citizen TV this morning, the Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka had some very interesting things to say about the anticipated merger between Raila Odinga's ODM and President Ruto's UDA party. According to Onyonka, there is excitement amongst his colleagues. It is not excitement because of what they're going to be able to do for their people. No, it is excitement over plum government positions. It is excitement over their turn to eat. In fact, he used those exact words. He says his colleagues are talking about their turn to eat. Now, of course, this is going to disappoint a lot of Kenyans, especially some supporters of the ODM party who expect miracles if Raila joins the Ruto government. And indeed, Raila has given very strong indication that actually a merger of sorts is in the works. There's even talk about changing the constitution to create a position for Prime Minister, which is being reserved for Raila Odinga. And remember that Senator Onyonka is an insider, and therefore he knows. He even once held a position as an assistant minister. Therefore he knows, he understands, and this cannot be good news for long-suffering Kenyans. Ish, you have heard the man. Spoken very clearly. That is the situation. And so, the next question is, what should we expect to happen next. Now, very quickly before I proceed, please allow this short message that I'm sure will be useful to many of us. Many of you will know that on this channel, we endeavor to give value in everything we do. And because many of us usually send money back home, I thought it would be a great idea to remind you of what you can gain from one of the partners of this channel, Lemify, previously Lemonade Finance. Did you know that if you're in Europe, you can get a €10 cashback on your first transaction of €50 and above? Oh yes. And if you're in the US, you can get a $10 cashback for your first transaction of $100 or more. And of course, to qualify for this, you just have to do something very simple. All you have to do is use my code, Kumekucha. Lemify has many benefits, some of the best rates in the market, easy to use, and so I highly recommend that you give it a try next time that you need to send money back home. Right, let's get on with the show. Now, I believe we have already had a public reaction, very clear public reaction, to a joint rally of the great Raila Odinga and President Ruto and their allies in one meeting. How did Kenyans respond? And I'm also sure most of us already know what happened in Mombasa. Shortly after Ruto and Raila people came out of a meeting, where they had discussed this merger at length, the people of Mombasa were very clear. They were so clear because as the politicians began to sell this thing at that rally in Mombasa, people were just looking at them. And then finally, when President Ruto spoke himself, I'm sure you know what happened. Shortly after he started his speech, the reaction from the public were jeers, murmuring, followed by Ruto must go, thief, Ruto must go, mwizi, Ruto must go. That is what happened. Now, many of those who believe that the Raila Odinga brand is strong enough to wash anything, including the Ruto regime in the eyes of Kenyans, this should be the first very clear sign that that cannot be true. Because of all areas in our beautiful republic, Mombasa people have had a reputation over the years for being very polite, laid-back people. Remember, these are the people who, if you want to get something done in a hurry, will tell you, boss, haraka ya nini? Kama ungekuwa na haraka si ungekuja jana. Mombasa people are cool, like a Sunday morning. Hawatakangi mambo nyingi. And therefore, if this is the kind of response that this so-called new merger is getting in Mombasa, imagine what kind of response it will get in Nairobi, in, let me not even mention Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya wachana nae. Wachana. What kind of reaction will it get in Masailand? What kind of reaction will it get in Western Kenya? What kind of reaction do you think this merger will get? Even in Kisumu, the home of Raila Odinga. Now, I admit that may be debatable for now, but I'm on the ground. I know how people are talking. I know how they feel. I know the raw emotions on the ground at the moment. And therefore I believe very strongly this merger, whatever you want to call it, is a non-starter. In fact, I'm of the view that it may trigger some raw emotions that could make things move faster. Yeah? Move faster politically to that place where things will change in Kenya. Okay? And I'm talking about real change. Not cosmetic change of so and so has joined so and so. And as Senator Onyonka told us, those people joining are not talking about the needs of Kenyans. No. They're talking about plum government positions. And this is exactly why I don't see Kenyans accepting this thing. It does not matter how beautifully packaged or how cleverly packaged it's going to be packaged. It is a non-starter. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.